Hello. Read me or listening with me, then kindly join the link I already sent you. You may click on the plus button there and you will join. Kindly type anything if you are listening me, because you are connected in showing here. Kindly join if you are listening me. Kindly click on the plus symbol shown here in the call in first. Number 1. Or maybe you make an invitation link I already sent you, or may copy and paste these podcast link there. If you're listening my voice, kindly write down in the message box anything else. Wow, now your voice is audible, I think. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, and there good night in India, the good evening in India. Now in time, the IST timing is now 7:40 in India, and they are 9:10 in USA. I think that's a great. Now today's program is an interview program. It is sponsored by WHOPodcast, Capital Publication, and Prices and the next one is just the who of us. Today we having a great writer and a great personality here. She is working in lots of fields, lots of things, and lots of atmospheric. Like that atmosphere is there. She is as an atmosphere. She's working in lots of things, and now we are brilliantly having a great writer there in India and US. Now listening all kind of books and having so much thanking to joining us. Before we starting, we are going to join in the single lines to worshipping the goddess of knowledge, that is Ma Saraswati. There, in Indian context, we are generally worshipping them for making any kind of thinking. There are the lots of people coming from the India and US and lots of countries there, from Singapore also there, and lots of countries there. They are all are listening us. And now we are going to worshiping two lines, that is, हे माँ सरस्वती, अपनी वंदना और अपनी वाणी से विराम देते हुए हमारे इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाए, सादर आभार. We are worshipping that our program will making gratitude, and Ma Saraswati, the Lordess of knowledge, always make us hand on us and making the program successful. Now we are inviting our special guest, that is a best writer, the great writer from the side of Carolina, and now the next words you are listening from them, and she is amazing writer and making a book on dirt, and now the family connected in the book, that is the great awesome. And now the next voice from the Ray, she is an awesome writer, and now I'm coming on the board and in the inviting on the munch, that is for making a little introduction about herself to the our all listeners from all around the hemisphere, all around the globe. The next voice, the all are listening. The greatly we are inviting the Re in all our program. That is great. Kindly make a small introduction about yourself, and then we going to speak and then another discussion.
Okay. I'm sorry, did you want me to speak?
Yeah, you may introduce yourself to our all audience about small introduction about yourself, and then we are going to the next questions of the interview.
Okay, I'm sorry. The music is just a little bit loud when you talk. So my name is Reah. I am an author, mom, business owner from North Carolina in the United States. I have written 4 books and contributed to 1 book. I also have a podcast of my own, and I am a mother of 5, ranging in adults 25 to 9. And I have a master's in mental health and wellness counseling, as well as a master's degree in psychology. And I have a commercial cleaning business, and I also have a family and relationship coaching business as well. I think that's about it.
I am going to expand these things. Ray is working on lots of things. They are writer, she's mother, she's working on industry, and that is a great things. And after that, she's making the time for the making a great literature also there. She is
Yeah.
writing an awesome book, and now I introducing in India she is making lots of efforts in the book, and now we are going on an interview about that awesome things, and we all learn the how a mother make fought with the life and making lots of things, and outcomes are is in lots of awesome experiences, and these experiences make us to how we learn the things in all around the hemisphere. And it is a journey of a mother to how make contribution these kind of things, and also making the great life to the children also there, including, I think. And that is great to be and an awesome experiences. Now I also making that introduction that the all the recent learners, the recent writers, which are the juvenile and youngsters, we also focus and make lots of things there. And now some words from the awesome Ria, and then she makes. And now we after that we are going to the or more introduction. If you want to tell something, then we are going to the questions on there.
Yeah. I think a very important factor is time. And, on one end, time goes by much faster than we think in terms of life. So it's important to kind of pace yourself. Um, Give yourself a realistic timeline when it comes to handling multiple projects, parenting, just writing itself. My autobiography took me about 5 years in total to write, from when I picked it up to when I finished it. And, you know, give yourself a little bit of grace with time. It does go by faster than you think. So make attainable goals so that you can stay, you know, stay on track, your timeline of when you want to put your work out there, but also give yourself enough time to thoroughly get out everything you want to say. There's the writing portion. There's also the editing. When you're working with a publisher, you want to make sure you also are involved in the process. That's also important too in terms of writing. It's good to have someone on your side to do the some of the work for you professionally, but I've learned in my experience, make sure that you're also involved in your own process, and that's with the writing process, the editing process, and everything that kind of comes in between that.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. And yeah. If you want to speak, or may I make a next question to you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. The next one question from as your experience is there. My question is from that. So what inspires to you writing, and what any author you are inspired from, or anything which you make to make and write, and how your journey started, like how experiences are. You are starting in your childhood, or making start in your when you are incoming business or something else, or if you become mother, when you starting your focus, and what is the premium or precursorily the kind of inspiration for the writing? Yeah.
So those are really good questions. So I started writing the book. I think I was going into my 30s, and honestly, when I started writing this book, it was more of kind of journaling. And I would talk to people about different life experiences, and they were kind of like, you know, I know there's other people who can relate to these kind of things, and you have really good kind of advice on how to get through them. And I was also working through certain things myself, so it was kind of a combination of journaling. And honestly, when I started the writing process for this book in particular, I actually put it down for a couple of years, maybe like 3 or 4 years before I started writing again. So I wrote some of it, and it was really painful to talk about some of these things. So I got a little overwhelmed. I did my outline. I wrote a couple paragraphs into each chapter, really, starting kind of the meat of things, each topic. And it became emotionally difficult. So I put it down for a few years. And then the reason that I picked it back up was I was pitching a different book to a publisher, and I mentioned this book to them, and they were like, actually, I want that book. They were like, I want to help you publish this book. So that confidence in the publisher is actually what made me finish writing this book and actually put it out there. As far as inspirations, I was used to be really into, and I say used to just because I haven't read as much lately as I used to, but I was really into Bishop T.D. Jakes' books. It was something about kind of the style of his writing that I kind of incorporated into mine a little bit. If you noticed in the back of the book, there's room for notes. And one thing that I liked about his writings were that some of his books had kind of, places in the book that you could write in the book. I learn a lot by writing, taking notes and things like that. So I don't know, it's not even related to like the style or the words in the book, but that was something that interested me. I was going through a really hard time at the time when I read his books also, and they really helped me to get through some difficult things, and I kind of wanted to do that for other people as well. So it's another reason that I finished the book and I got it published and everything, because I was like, I realized that, for one, talking about these things helped me, but also they could potentially help other people. People that I did talk about certain situations, they were like, I don't feel quite as alone now because I'm not the only one who went through these things. And then my aunt also, she inspired me in the writing department, because she actually wrote during the time that I was working on my book. She actually put out a book herself, and it was talking about, it's called Courage for Life by Ann White, and she was, talking about her own life experiences and things like that. And I promise it wasn't on purpose that that I was working on mine at the same time, but reading hers, I actually read hers while I wasn't working on mine because I didn't want my reading to influence my writing, if that makes sense. So, but that was a big inspiration too, was reading hers and reading about her life experiences and feeling relatable, and I wanted to help other people do the same thing. So.
So awesome, and I am thinking that that is a great to awesome start as a writer. You are making so awesome experiences there. Now I think
Thank you.
yeah the next question from the some of the reviewer there, that maybe that how you connect, what is the awesome kind of literature you written down in your book, and what is the crux or maybe the summary about the book you written down in the some small speech you want to then tell that how your book is making changes in the society or things maybe connected with the society, or may these are uh, we say that uh, must we read the book kind of content, why that is so experienced, and how we connect the people about the book. That is my next question from me.
Okay, yeah. So, sorry. Um, so you're asking the kind of the crux, the kind of point of the book. The main idea or main point of the book is really about self-worth and self-reflection, and applying that into growth, growth within yourself, realizing that, okay, so I'm talking about these experiences that I went through, and some of them were very difficult, and some of them were my fault, my fault in the sense of some of these were uh, reactions or consequences to my actions. And some of them were environmental factors. Some of them I had no control over. Some things, um, but the main point is that you can go through horrible things. You can even do horrible things, but applying yourself, building confidence in yourself, growing intentionally as a person, you don't have to be your past. You can grow and focus on yourself and mold yourself, and put the work in to become someone completely different. It's possible to move on from our mistakes, and kind of the book kind of shows a little bit of how, because there's a little bit of education behind it, from the education and experience that I have, kind of helping people. Okay, well, that's great and all, that I can overcome my past, but how do I do that? And the book does tell how to do that too. With specifically in the chapter, love-hate relationships, talks a lot about our love-hate relationships with ourselves and how we can overcome that and use that to positively affect the relationships around us. So I hope that answered both the questions.
That's great. Awesome. As a speaker, you are the great about that. You are also making a podcast there. It's just the woo of us. That is awesome. I am listening some of time, and lots of my listeners is also listening your podcast there. And awesome as you inviting the peoples, and that is great about that. And may you how you making some of interesting about that, uh, also the journey of your podcast as a podcaster, you working lots of things. May I which is your the best hobby or that work you enjoy a lot? What is the actual thing in behind that you are working on lots of things and using your time as so awesome way as in your introduction note there? Then how you think about how the management as you doing is so well as a mother? All sometimes we the all mothers or the females having lots of time in the regulating all the things about that and also making the care of child also there they because of that is the so premium about that. And how you think about how you manage all things? My basic question is that.
Huh. Well, I wish I could say flawlessly, but I manage it. I have to do a lot of self-reflection. Even in terms of time management, I also have ADHD, and I'm super ADHD. Like, it's, and I choose not to medicate myself, for that, but I do other forms of therapy and things like that. Time management in general, it's really important to focus on yourself. As parents, we don't do that a lot. You could have one kid, you could have five, and you probably don't take as much time for yourself as you should, or as you used to, or as you even wish that you should, wish that you could. Time management in the form of, okay, I've got to manage how much time I put into me. I have to manage how much time I put into podcasting. I have to make sure that I set time aside for writing and manage that time as well too. So time management, as well as making sure that the time that I am spending on things is productive. I try not to kind of sit around a lot, and part of that might just be the ADHD component, but I try to make sure that I'm always doing something productive. And that doesn't mean necessarily, like physically like running around being, running myself in circles, but it just means being productive in a manner that, okay, I'm getting things done, even if that means I am taking a few minutes to myself, whether it means I'm working on this project, I'm doing a little podcast editing, when I have free time, and making sure that I have free time, to do the things that are important to me and not just the things that are kind of mundane. Because there was a point where I didn't manage my time well enough to where I was also doing the things that I enjoyed, like podcasting, like writing. I play Sims. That's like the only game that like video game that I play, but I love Sims. And, even things like, hey, I've been stressed out this week. I haven't put a lot of time into myself. I'm going to sit down and play Sims for 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to do a little podcast editing, because even though podcast editing, or things of that nature might seem like work to those of us, and I'm sure you can, agree to this, for those of us who enjoy doing this, it's not really, it doesn't feel like a job. But it's important to also factor in things that are fun and fun outside of work, if that makes sense too. There has to be a balance. And that's coming from someone who doesn't always enforce that balance. There's times where my husband might have to say to me, hey, have you played Sims this week? Have you gone to the office and take a little bit of time, to do something for yourself this week? Or, so yeah, time management and focus on productivity, to me, are the biggest two answers.
Also, from your side, and lots of people connecting and listening us. Ravlani from the Western India is also connected us, and lots of people listening and joining there. All I am welcoming in the interview of respected Reah Hagues there from the Carolina, USA, and we are surely that we are speaking with lots of interesting things and lots of experience to learning for the new writers also there. She is an awesome writer, and that's a great to be with them. And now the next question from my side is there. Actually, you are so interesting because of you doing lots of things in the building of your time management as an asset or the tool. Awesome for you. I'm saluting heads off for you. And the next question from my side, from my podcasting team, that is for you. That is how you making. Sometimes we making the humanity in the all bringing us. Now the humanity is the first thing. We helping to each others. You making any kind of help to the others, which make a smile your face, your heart. Then kindly make a small brief on them. The question is not only for that we are helping others. The question is for only for that the inspiration to the others, to making more help to the other, and making the religion as a humanity to all around the world. That is for inspiration for the question. And how you help others, and how you think the humanity is the better for everything, every people needs it. About the question on the for you, it's about.
Yeah, so for the first part, how do I help others in regards to humility? I like to volunteer as much as I can, and I try to make sure that when I do volunteer, it's intentional. Not just, okay, there's something going on in the community, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go be a part of it. I like to volunteer in things that include a variety of people. So people unlike myself, I like to, when I say volunteer, so there's a program in my local community to where we do community outreach in the sense of when there's celebrations. So when there's I can't think of a word for it now, like parades or community events, like outside. I don't know why I can't think of the word, but people come out and they set up tents and things, and they kind of promote businesses and mostly things like that. So we go out and we represent a part of the community. I'm sorry, I don't know why I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Well, community celebrations, I guess. But we volunteer and do things like pick up trash. We bring people water bottles. Last summer it was so hot in the summer, and we were doing this event, and those of us who were volunteering, I had my daughter with me, so I said, there's cases of water bottles out here that people had for the attendees of the event, and I was like, well, what about the people who were here in these tents representing different organizations and things, the vendors. So my daughter and I, we went around and we handed out water bottles to all the vendors, because nobody was really taking care of them, and it was really hot. So I'm like, I know that if we're hot and thirsty, I know you guys are too. So not only volunteering and attending events, but when I do volunteer at events, I try to, okay, how can we, and usually I have one of my kids with me, how can we cater to people while we're doing this, to make it more than just, okay, well, I'm here, I'm here, I'm part of this, making about how we can actually physically and mentally and emotionally impact the people of our community by going a little bit further. I know water is like a big thing, especially in the hotter months. We have a large homeless population in Salisbury at certain points, more so like toward the highway where all the, fast food and stuff is. There's a lot of homeless out there, and we make sure that we keep things in our car, water, maybe napkins even, because you're hot, you're sweating. Just things like that to try to make sure that even little things, if we're able, it's not going to put me out to have a case of water in my car. Just little things to where people are people and people deserve to be loved and cared for, even if they're having a hard time. And, just little things that we can do to give back to our community. It doesn't really cost us anything. It doesn't take much time, especially if you're already volunteering somewhere, you're already there, just kind of figuring out how to go a little above and beyond for people who you see don't seem to be getting that. And then humility, it's important because, just kind of like I said, everybody deserves to be loved. Everybody deserves to be happy, healthy, and free of kind of judgment for mistakes and failures and things like that. And I think a lot of times when people see people who are quote unquote less fortunate, okay, well, how did you get there? Because I've had that mindset before in the past too. Well, how did they get there? But regardless, people are people, and everybody deserves a little kindness. We don't know what people are going through. It's important because we don't know. We don't ever know what people are going through. We don't know what they've gone through. We don't know why they're where they are. We just, okay, well, we teach our children to make certain life choices to try to avoid having themselves in certain situations, but also to not judge people who are in those situations because you don't know how they got there, So hopefully that answered those questions too.
So every answer make the program on a tremendous way. That's a great to be. You is here. It is awesome. And we are going to the next one question to you. There are lots of people there, and we are making an awesome interview for the Reah, and she is awesome speaker and awesome. I think never than I interviewed these kind of. I think this awesome lady there. I'm interviewed more than 50 peoples there in all around the world, all around the hemisphere there. We connected with the Singapore, we connected with the USA, in North, South Carolina and New York, and also there, and lots of people from the poetry and the writer from the Indians context. But you making a proud to us to making an awesome year. And now we are making a next question to you, to joining you as a speaker. That is for you. The question is about you are looking like a mitochondria in the writer industry because of you are making as a powerhouse for all of us, making a lots of things, and how you managing all are the awesome. The question is behind that when you are making and writing these things, then how family supports you, what the members on your family, and may include all the things, may you also include the name of them and how they supports you and how they feel then you are writing on and how they making a feedback to you. And I think they all are the great effort and great support to you, and you may elaborate on exporting your knowledge and exporting your emotions to all the audience there. That is my question, and thanking you.
Yeah, thank you. So it's funny because when I was writing the book, there were a couple of people who didn't really support it. And even when the book came out, because they were afraid that were, and I'm not going to necessarily say their names because I don't want to make them seem like negative people, but, when I was writing the book, and even when I put it out, there were some people who didn't want to read it, because they felt like it was going to be maybe painful for them and kind of even maybe make them look bad. But in the end, everyone involved they did end up supporting me, because once they read the book, they realized that it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. But when I am writing, my family supports me by giving me time. They give me the time to write. Okay. If I say that I need to work on my book, they're going to give me that space to do so. I mean, having kids need things, and sometimes it's when you're busy, but, for the most part, my kids are a little older, so they try to respect that quiet space that I need. And then emotionally, they support me, because it can be difficult writing about your life. You're talking about things that you went through yourself. And so it's kind of, you're reliving that emotion a little bit over again in that experience. So they support me by giving me time. They support me by being there for me if I am feeling emotional over the book. My husband in particular, Quentin, he's very good about supporting me emotionally when I'm writing. He understands that sometimes when you're writing about certain topics, it can be a little painful and difficult, and maybe I need a little bit, maybe a couple more hugs, or, maybe I might need him to listen to me a little bit and get my feelings out and stuff. And my mother too, she's the same way. If I need a little bit, okay, well, I'm writing about this topic right now. It's making me feel this certain way. She'll listen to me. She'll support me. She'll talk about it with me. If it's something that she remembers. So really emotional, and with space, how they feel when I'm writing. So when I was writing this book in particular, there was a portion of my family who didn't like it, like I said, because they thought it was going to be kind of a bashing session, specifically about my father, because one of the chapters is daddy issues, and it does talk about my experiences with my father, but it also talks about my experiences with my children's fathers. And so, come to find out, it wasn't just like a bashing session of my father like they thought it was going to be. So throughout that process, they kind of went from not being supportive to reading it and saying, oh, this is actually really well put. Everything that's in here is true. It actually happened, even if it's negative. It happened, but you're not putting him down. It's not just about making him look bad. So my father's family went through kind of a range of emotions about how they felt when I was writing. But in the end, they read it and they said, oh, there's some bad stuff in here, but it actually happened. And the way you talked about it was actually really elegant. So as far as feedback, my daughter in particular, my oldest daughter, she read one chapter, and that was when I was actually in the kind of beginning of the writing process, to where, it wasn't published yet. It was literally a paper manuscript. And so she read that one chapter. Now so this was about 10 years ago, because the process was about 5 years. And then I published it about 5 years ago. So, between 5 years. So she was in her late teens, middle to late teens as I was writing this. So I didn't let her read the whole thing, because some of it is, there's certain experiences in there I talk about. I just didn't want my teenage daughter reading about, but I did let her read one chapter, and she cried. Same with my mom, same with my cousin. I had them read different chapters. and their feedback all was really, really positive. Like I said, a couple people cried, but so their feedback was really positive. I think one of them, maybe my cousin Heather, she was just kind of like, make sure that you're being honest about things. Make sure that you're talking about stuff. I think everybody really supported how I was writing it. They supported the process. The only negative feedback I had, was kind of in the beginning, but all in all, it was a really good experience. They were all really supportive and really gave me positive verbal feedback. So.
That is so really great about that. All things you speaking here, that is how the family supports. We all need the support of the family, and
Yeah.
we all are needing that. And you are really great to having this awesome family with you. That is great to for all the listeners, and lots of wishes from the India to the US, and that's great to be here. And now the second question, the next one question from my side is about also there. Then written down a book is sometime brief or sometime I think dream from the lots of peoples there. You also making small awesome kind of a dream to you, or you are written down this how the journey make specialize you. May you also make a small paragraph or anything to our audience about that. Any paragraph which you think to share with the peoples there, if it is able there.
Yeah. Okay. Could you repeat the first part of your question? There was
Yeah,
it's
my
really
first
loud
part of the
for me.
question is when you're starting to writing down a book. Sometimes these one is a dream to the some of people to writing a book. The name on covering the book. You start is that kind of your journey experiences or anything. You started that kind of journey experiences there, or me just written down. And next question is to share the paragraph from your side and put for that all the audience.
Okay. So the first question you're asking about the name of the book, is that correct?
No name. That is for sometimes people started a book as a dream to be a
Oh.
name on book. Dream.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, like I don't I don't know that I would necessarily say that was the case. Honestly, this book wasn't even the book that I was going to put out first. um, it was more when I started writing. It was more, well, how can I help other people with my education and my life experience? I never really had a dream to have my name out there. Really, I kind of wish that I could do more without drawing the attention to myself, if that makes sense. um, but just because I want to help people and get my point across and achieve my goal without it being about me. I know that might sound weird because I wrote a story about my life, but the point wasn't to say, hey, like, look at my life. The point was more to say, hey, I overcame these things and then you could too. So I'm going to read a paragraph from chapter 4. It's called Love, Hate, Relationships. And I chose this chapter because I feel like it's just a really powerful chapter to sum up everything so far in the book and kind of drive home my point. It says, life is short, life is stressful. Neither of those things are going to change. we can change the relationship we have with ourselves. We can stop punishing ourselves for our past mistakes, learn and grow from our short lives, and cut ties where it's needed, and shift focus where it's needed. Love others by loving yourself. Love yourself by cutting people out who don't make your life better. If you can't or don't want to cut them out, work on ways to make the relationship healthy. In short, put work into your relationship with yourself, and from there you will be able to work on your relationships with other people. Like I said, I think that chapter just kind of sums up everything I've talked about so far, because a big factor of the book is going through life. I've always been confident, like appearance and abilities and things like that, but confidence and self-worth are two completely different things. And when you don't have self-worth, doesn't matter how much, outward confidence you have, your self-worth, your low self-worth kind of displays in your relationships with other people. When you don't have a good relationship with yourself, it reflects everywhere. It reflects in your career, in your parenting, in your, romantic relationships. It reflects everywhere, because you're going to treat everybody else how you feel about yourself, in short.
Okay. You are speaking in it?
Oh, no, that's it.
Okay. That is the awesome from your side. And the next one question. Before asking that, I am again introducing my audience to the coming here. That today's program is an interview of the respected Reah Hagues, North Carolina, USA. She is a multifaceted powerhouse, making the lots of things. And now we are, that is program is co-organized with the Just the Who of Us podcast, Carical Publication, Sahityasam Sangam, and Kavya Marathi podcast. And that is awesome to having such a great lady of awesome speaker there. And now the next question is from our side. Then you're starting your podcast as Just the Who of Us. And also you may also introduce your podcast there also, some of word about that, and also some lines about your business, what are you doing about that people may understand, and how a lady building such a kind of greatness here. The awesome writer is also there, and may you able to share what things you want to, that is for open speak or open speech to you, and thanking you. The next was you are listening, the all audience there, the Ray there.
Yeah. So my podcast is called Just the Who of Us. And the podcast actually started 5 years ago. I think we're in our, no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. 3 years ago. So we're in our third year. And it started as my ex-husband and I, actually, he had an idea. He was like, oh, I really want to start a podcast. And so in true fashion, typically when someone says they want to start a business, I think, okay, well, let's, how can we make that happen? So I said, well, let's, we can try it out. I, got the software and things. I actually signed up to Podbean first, way before I started YouTube or anything like that. So, he and I sat down, we recorded an episode, and then he got busy after that. And I just kept it going. I said, you know what? I really enjoyed recording that first episode. So after that, I just started interviewing people that I knew. We just started talking about topics that I was familiar with. I think I actually started interviewing people on topics relative to my autobiography. And just kind of kept it going from there. Now we're in our third year. I've posted over 100 episodes, well over 100 episodes. I'm not even sure how many at this point, but 3 years in, we're in our we're on our, I think, 4th episode of the 3rd season. And sometimes it's just me, very rarely, but most of the time it's me and just I find guest speakers on different platforms. So, if you're listening here and you've got something to talk about, I'd love to have you on. I just kind of post on social media or people that I meet out in the world. Hey, that's, you've got an interesting thing that, we could talk about on the podcast. I have a couple friends who come on, from time to time. I have a few reoccurring speakers. I just met people and I loved what they were passionate about. And a lot of them come on once every few months, some once a month, some, and I really, that part started about a year and a half or so in, maybe 2 years in, to where I really started getting frequent. I mean, there was one point when I had so many people wanting to be on, I couldn't even keep up with it. So, but it's just like anything else. There's times where I have a lot to do, and there's times where life kind of gets in the way, and maybe I found a way to kind of keep it going, by maybe doing a repost of an old episode or something like that. But the general theme of the podcast is just friends chatting. I have people on who they come and they talk about their career, or they talk about a specific thing they're passionate about, or sometimes even just talk about, like I have one friend, she comes on and she talks a lot about mental health. She talks about her life experiences. I have one friend who comes on and he talks primarily about men's health. I have another friend who comes on and he talks about motivation. He has a card deck. We break down some of those cards, go over them, and things like that. And so, I've met a lot of different people doing this, and it's really cool. It's a really cool way to get to know people other than yourself, if that makes sense.
Wow, that's great. And awesome answers of every question from the Reah. That is a great. And she is now representing in India as the North Carolina, USA here. And she's writing that kind of awesome book with having these kind of the large and huge responsibilities as a podcaster, best-selling author, life coach, and entrepreneur. She is awesome lady and making lots of effort and writing, reading, and all habits there. She is using her time in a greatly manner. First of all, all the listeners are having to learn these kind of the inspiration with us. We are making the inspiration to us, and we are surely inspired from her. And now the next question for the lady, that is, how, I think you are also a powerhouse here. And what if you need sometime the motivation, or you motivate to all around the hemisphere here, I think.
Yeah, there's absolutely times where I need motivation. Even, from the hobby aspect of this, all the way to the business aspect of it, of where there's times where either I've been sick, or, there's even been times where I'm like, well, is anybody really listening to this? Like, how much of an impact am I really making? Sometimes you can get in your head kind of about it, like, does anybody care to listen? And then you go back and you look at the numbers, and even if it's 10 or 13, sometimes I'm like, oh wow, like that many people cared to hear what I had to say. So I definitely need encouragement sometimes myself, and I usually find that in my family, my husband, my kids, my mom. They're all like, no. My husband at one point, I really got discouraged. I had been sick, and some time had passed, and I'm like, I just don't or even financially sometimes. You're like, I mean, I pay for most of my stuff for the year, so I don't have to worry about it every month. But even if you're looking at it every month, I've got, certain softwares or however you use to edit, or host or things like that. And it can be like, gosh, if it's a month no one's really listening, what am I spending this money for? But then you go, my husband will be like, no, keep doing it. His thing is most things take 5 years to come to fruition. Like most things aren't big for the first 5 years. And so, keep at it. And I think that's something really important for the listeners to know and to think about too, that things aren't going to take off in that first year, maybe not even the first 3 years. I mean, with my commercial cleaning business, things didn't take off really until year 3. Year 2, they took off a little and then they slowed down some. It's when you look at it from a business point of view, business can be inconsistent. When you're not a multi-million-dollar business, you've got ups and downs. And even if you are, you still have ups and downs. But when you're a small business, when you're doing something like this, there's going to be inconsistencies, and that's just life. You're going to have times where you're discouraged, but you have to keep your eyes on the big picture. You have to keep your eyes on the long term. The first 5 years, you might just be talking to 1 or 2 people. The first 5 years, you might get up to 15, 20 people. And then in those 5 years, you also have to think about your experience. Well, how much time and experience have I put into this? Do I really even know what I'm doing the first 3 years? I mean, my first year of podcasting, I didn't even do video. It was all audio. And I didn't even start posting reels on YouTube until last year, which was well into the second year. So I mean, it's a process, and just like anything, you have to trust the process and trust to yourself. Keep and find people who encourage you. Sometimes it's about where you're looking. There's a place called School, SKOOL. It's a site, a website, an app, and you can go on there and you can connect with all kinds of people. And it's typically in a professional manner. That's where I find a lot of podcast guests. So, just look around, look different places, see where you're connecting. Are you connecting with people who you want on your show, or you just kind of finding people just to find people, because that makes a difference too.
Your answer is such a great way there, because of we are organizing these kind of interviews here to learn the way learn from the lots of writers. And thanking so much to you are joining us, you are here. That is awesome for all of us, all our listeners from all around the world. Today's program is now, as you know, that is the interview of respected Reah Hagues, North Carolina, USA. She is a awesome guy, awesome woman, which having lots of things, lots of learning to all of us. And the next question from my side is written down from lots of our all guests there. The question is about you. What you going to explain the new writers, youngster, that they knew, and what is the follow-up and how they should improve their writings, maybe in the poetry form, maybe in the generalized literature form, then how they make improvement in their literature. That is the question for you. The next voice you are listening from us, that is Reah.
Can you repeat the first part of the question?
Yeah, the first part of the question, that is you having an awesome life. That is the just explanation. The question is just about that the youngsters, how they improve their writing skills, and how you suggest about your thought processes.
So so that's a good question as far as how to improve your writing skills. There is a lot of help out on the internet. One thing that about kids is, well, we have all this access to the internet, let's put it into good use, right? So whether it might be watching YouTube videos on writing, on editing. Editing is important, even if you work with a publisher, because you still want to make sure that you're putting your words out how you want them to be seen. And I don't mean editing as far as like spelling. I mean editing as far as, does this sentence make sense? Is it a full and complete sentence? Does it say everything I want it to say? Is it even relative to the book? Is it relative to the paragraph? Improving your writing skills can be done a lot by finding reputable resources. Just like learning a skill. If you want to learn how to change a tire or something, you can go look up on YouTube. Improving your writing skills is kind of the same thing. It's improving a skill. It's learning how to do something professionally and something thoroughly. You want to make sure that your thoughts are in the right place. I think that's more important. I think that's way more important than spelling. Spelling, you can go into a Word document and it can, correct spelling for you. But when it comes to actual writing skills, I think that educating yourself on placement, sentence structure, getting your ideas across thoroughly, in the right place are just as important, if not way more important than your actual spelling and punctuation. And then, could you repeat the second part of the question?
Second part of the question is awesomely that from your side, as your thought process, then how you making the inspiration to making involve the lots of or more people may write the literature. That is about that. And how you think because of when connected, the writing is a better way to connect your experiences and things to the knowledge to the others. Then what you think you inspire to the people and writing more things about that for the especially for the youngsters about that kind of things.
Okay. So in inspiring younger people to write about, I think it's important. I think it's important to understand that your experiences matter. And when you're writing about, you're writing it doesn't even have to be an autobiography. You could write a fiction book that reflects your life experiences. I think it's important as someone young, as someone kind of starting out in this, for one, listen to people who have the experience. It's one thing to have ideas, and I'm not saying, don't talk to your friends about it, don't listen to your friends, but finding people who have experience, just like anything. You don't want to start a new job and talk to people who don't know what they're talking about and, get advice from them. You want to talk to people who know what they're talking about because they have at least a little experience doing the same thing. You know, knowing that your story matters and knowing that it's important to look to people who, I guess, know what they're talking about. Look to people who have the experience, and don't be afraid to take advice from people. Don't be afraid to take direction from people who have done what you are setting out to do. I think would be my biggest advice in that area.
That is awesome. And Mike, the next question is: as you inspire the people, as you inspire the youngsters, that is awesome in a great way. And I am making appeal to the people: kindly join and kindly make an inspiration from her and inspire and accuracy and evolve your writing skills there. And that is a great learnings from the side of the Reah. She is awesome writer. And then my next question from the you, as then in your books, first in the front, that is you making lots of pictures there. Can you elaborate these pictures about they how connected in the book? May you make an elaboration about that? The about that. Then my question is about books covering page about that.
Yeah. So, so actually, so the pages, the pictures on the book in the top left is of me and my now husband. We were engaged at the time. And, so it was important, that I put him in there because, well, he's a prominent person in my life. Underneath is a picture of my kids, and they all are in Halloween costumes. And I did that on purpose to not have their faces out there. I wanted a way to have the kids on the book without having their faces prominently displayed. That's more just kind of a privacy thing. And then there's a birthday cake on another photo. It's my 28th birthday. So for my 28th birthday, my mom put together this big surprise party for me. And I was really, really into the Twilight books and movies at the time. So there's a picture of a cake, because that was, it's just kind of a staple memory. It was a really, really sweet thing that she did. And so I wanted to have that on there. There's also a picture of me and my mother at the top. A picture of me as a kid underneath that. There's a picture of my dog in a wig. Just because I thought it was funny. I've had this dog. I literally helped his mother birth him. So I've held him since the day he was born, and he's been my pet ever since. Underneath that photo is a picture of me and my ex-husband. So we have kids together. We went through a really, really difficult breakup. And we were not friends at all for a long time. And at the point where I wrote, at the point where I wrote this book, we had started healing our friendship. And I do briefly mention him in this book. I don't really talk about him in a bad way, but I do mention him in my daddy issues chapter, because he is a father that was he's the father of my children. So he is a father that I have experiences with. And so I included him in that chapter. And so he's on there as well. Then there's also a picture of me and my little sister. There is a picture of me, my mother, and my father, all of us together when I was, I think, a couple years old. This was before they split up. So I kind of felt like that was important, because it was a picture of us three when we were kind of that one complete unit as a kid. And then there's a picture of me and my grandmother. She actually passed this past October. We were really close. We were close as an adult. So yeah, she's a pretty special person in my life. And so she's on there. There's another kind of baby picture of me. And then there's a picture of a little wooden horse. And this little wooden horse I still have it to this day. It's not in prime condition, but it's a little wooden horse that I had when I was a kid. And so that picture is on there as well. And that's it.
every questions making that more deeper knowledge about that. That is the great you are as a personality. You are awesome because of
Thank you.
you are so true about your facts, and that makes you more intelligent in lots of things. May ask a question on your spiritual perspectives, because of generally sometimes the spirituality make us more bigger human beings, and as I understand in your personality, you may believe in God somewhere, and how the spirituality make us a better humans, making by dhyana, by meditation, something else. May you share these kind of words from your side? And that is my next question. And they are SK Ambas ji here from the India. They all are listener. Lots of people joining us. Heman here, and they all are there. My question is again say, what is the spirituality to make us on believe ourselves, and how they improve ourselves as a great human being? Your mic is off, Ree. That question is may you answered there. Now I'm told to all my listeners, we are interviewing a great lady there. She is from the North Carolina, USA. She is a writer, awesome, lots of bestseller author. She is a life coach. She is an entrepreneur, and she is the embodies the essence of a modern day trailblazer with an impressive array of the degrees of Christian studies, psychology, life coaching, and the hosted mental health and wellness council. She is an equipped to inspire the empower individual for us. Also, I tell in the single word that she is a mitochondria in the way. I am repeating my question to the here. That is how spirituality make us more inspiration and more great human beings there.
Yeah, this is another really good question, and it's a question that over the years I've had different answers to. There was one point where I was very, very engulfed in Christianity, and now I am not. I don't consider myself a Christian. I don't feel like religion, the religious aspect itself, is the most important part of my spirituality. I've had a very up and down relationship with religion itself, and so to to answer the question, I kind of have to go through the religious aspect of it. It was a very growing up, it wasn't a very prominent religion and spirituality weren't a prominent part of my life consistently. And the older I got, so I actually went to college and obtained a degree in Christian studies. And it was oddly during that education that my relationship with religion changed to the point where I realized that religion is more of an institution and my spirituality is directly my relationship with God. And to me, I don't believe that religion should, I want to say, come between people. I think religion is kind of supposed to bring people together and primarily teach us how to live. Religion itself is supposed to give us a structure. And sometimes that can be mistaken and taken advantage of. And to me, religion has become not my priority, and spirituality has become my priority instead, because my spiritual health and well-being to me personally, and this is not to knock anybody who is religious. I just feel like my spirituality is more important to my relationship with God than religious practices, if that makes sense. I think that our spirituality, whether it be connected to religion or whether it not be, I think that our spirituality gives us more of a guide on how to live and how to treat people. Because with spirituality as opposed to religion, you're focusing on your relationship, you're focusing how you treat the earth, you're focusing how you treat God's people, and things like this, and doing those things with love and respect as opposed to following a rule book that kind of tells us who to treat how and not, if that makes sense. I think having a spiritual connection conveys more inspiration by focusing solely on relationship. I know I feel like I kind of keep saying the same thing, but it's it's an important part. It's an important point to make. Spirituality over religion or not just makes us more connected people. It connects us more to God. It connects us more to the earth. It connects us more to us as beings and improves how we treat others and improves the importance of treating others well, treating the earth well, things like that.
Wow. That is perspective yourself, but that's a good. But spirituality, it means sometimes anything which make us calm. Maybe they may be religion, and they may be sometimes meditation or everything else there. As your personality making you strong as an here, that sometimes it look like so, I think, and then I ask about that. And the next question from our side is that the next question is about then what is the words that about your literature is going on, then how the next coming up about your what are the journey for the coming up future that you written down the next one book or you making a podcast because of you working in lots of things, then how the literacy journey is going on or something about that the next book is coming on or you're working on that kind of topic, and about that what is your experiences about that next coming of future about that your literature. That is my question.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. So I am turning 40 in May, and I've been working on a kind of follow-up to my autobiography. It's been kind of a journey too. It's not been as difficult as writing the autobiography. This one is more about, time management and figuring out what to talk about. When you've written one book and you have one that's kind of follows it and they're kind of in the same category, sometimes it can be easy to repeat yourself in the second or third, but so I'm currently working on a book. I'm playing around with the title, but it's something in relation to turning 40. I have a title in mind, but it may be, some people might not, it may be a little too much for some people. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use it yet, but it's kind of briefly wraps up the years following the publishing of the book up until about 35. And then it goes more in depth from 35 to 39. And then once I turn 40, then I'll spend the next year kind of reflecting on the first year of being 40. And then that book will be coming out the end of next year. So I turn 40 May of this year. And so then I will be releasing the new book maybe around May, maybe the middle of end of next year, 2026. So I'm excited about that because, I've told my story of my life so far, and I've talked about a lot of life experiences that I've had, how they impacted me and how maybe they can help other people, positively impact on that end. And this one is more, okay, well, I'm a woman who, I've had all these experiences. You already know about those. But now I want to talk more about being a woman turning 40, and how I've taken all that reflection from all those life experiences, how I've applied it. So in the first book, I talk about how the audience can apply these things to their lives. And now in this next book, it'll be more and so on and so forth. This is how I feel about turning 40. This is how the first year has, have the things that I've heard. Are they true? About the first year being 40 and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's what's next to come. I've also been working on a fiction book too. That one's been in the works for quite a while. That one I just kind of wanted to play around, because the things that I've written are more education and life experience based. So I just kind of wanted to play around with fiction a little bit. But I don't know when that one will be out. That one will be out. I don't know. So sometime in the future, sometime in the unknown future, you might see a fiction from me as well. Sorry. Unfortunately, I do have to wrap up though because I have to get my daughter to an appointment soon. But I could.
The last question there only.
Okay. I
No, I understand the whole thing. The last question is I'm facing that I'm going to the close the show now, and the question is that awesome question for every time I ask, that is how you experiences in that today's show and how you feel about that show. Then kindly express yourself about the truly way. That is my last question from our interviewee. That is Reah Hagues from the North Carolina. That's a great to awesome here.
Yeah, I love that you asked this question because honestly, I was gonna say I could just sit here and keep talking to you all day. I've loved being here so far. The questions have been wonderful, and the feedback and the support have been absolutely amazing. It's like it's kind of like we've known each other forever, and we're just sitting here chatting, which is really how I like for my podcast to be too. So it's always really cool when I can go on someone else's and have that same experience. I've absolutely loved being here, and I would love to come back.
That is voice you are listening from the Reah here. That is share their experiences here. And today's program is interview of the respected Reah Hagues, North Carolina, USA. The program is co-sponsored by the Just the Woo of Us podcast, Carical Publications, Sahitya Som Sangam, and Kavya Marathi podcast. That is a program in an awesome way. We are listening from the North Carolina, USA, and the program is going on so well. We are learn lots of things from the life of the such a great lady here. And I think all the listeners, this program is also recorded, and you may listen again the program in the Spotify, Amazon Music, iMusic, and lots of platform there I publish there. And that is so much thankful to you, Reah, that you join us for the program and be making an interview. That is the awesome way and awesome to having you as a speaker. And I also respect that you giving the time to us. That is so awesome. And thanking so much to you. And if you want some of the words to us, then after that we are going to close the program and give us permission to that.
Okay, yeah, I really appreciate being here. I've really thoroughly enjoyed it, and like I said, I would love to come back and chat about all kind of things. I appreciate being here, and I hope that everybody listening takes something from it. I appreciate everybody's interaction. I appreciate everyone who came and listened, and everyone who will be listening to the playback.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.